What's up, guys? Ryan here, and I am super excited that you have joined me on this training to discuss the right and wrong way to carry a gun. Now, if you choose to carry a firearm for concealed carry, you have to know these 3 rules. Now, rule number 1 is you have to carry your firearm 100% of the time you're legally allowed to. You know, you guys have heard me say it before, and I'm gonna say it again. But most people, they have this mindset that they're only gonna carry the gun if they think they're gonna need it. Wouldn't you agree that is really idiotic? Are you ever gonna receive a text message that says, hey, make sure you have your gun today, you're gonna get robbed? Of course not. It's just random. We simply never know. And that means we have to be prepared 100% of the time, and we have to carry that gun. If you don't, you are simply fooling yourselves, and you will never be ready for a violent encounter. Now, rule number 2 is you should never have to change the position of your firearm throughout the day. So what I mean by this is some people will have the firearm inside of their waistband at the appendix position, but every time they drive, they take the gun out and they maybe put it in their glove box. This is extremely unsafe and very stupid. Now, earlier this year, there was a man who was a construction worker who had the firearm in a holster inside of his waistband. As he arrived at a job site, he decided to pull the firearm out and place it into his pocket. Well, during this process, the gun discharged, bullet flew up into the air and struck his partner, killing him instantly. Honestly, this could have all been avoided. When I wake up in the morning, I take my gun, which is in my big safe, just like this, I place it into my waistband, and the firearm does not move until it is the end of the day and it is time for me to lock this gun back into my big gun safe. You have to follow this rule. If you are uncomfortable and you don't feel safe having the gun in one spot all throughout the day, then that means you are doing something wrong. And you have to figure out what that is and fix it. You should never have to move your gun throughout the day. Now, by the end of this training, you're gonna have enough information to choose the proper holster and position for you and your lifestyle. Rule number 3 is that your firearm has to be loaded. So that means that the magazine is fully loaded, but that also means you have a round inside of that chamber. Honestly, in a life or death self-defense situation, you are gonna have a microsecond to make a decision. Do you really want to have to pull your gun out, rack the slide to load it? No. For me, I just want to be able to pull my gun and engage the enemy. Now, many times I hear from newer shooters that they don't feel safe or confident having the firearm be completely loaded. What that tells me is that you need a lot more training with your gun, and that's okay. Now, we have courses, you've heard before, but I have the Beginner's Guide to Firearms training course. If you're not comfortable having your gun fully loaded yet, I encourage you to sign up for that class. It's pretty cheap, and it's gonna teach you exactly what you need to do to make sure you develop the skills and the confidence to safely concealed carry a fully loaded gun. You know, many years ago, I saw a video online of a man that owned a 7-Eleven. Bad guy came into the store and started stabbing one of his employees. Now, the owner pulled out his gun. It wasn't loaded. He racked it, and the gun jammed. So now the bad guy started stabbing the owner. So he racked it again, and now he has a double feed because the man did not have proper training, and he didn't know how to clear that first malfunction. Now, unfortunately, the owner of this 7-Eleven was stabbed to death holding his gun because the firearm was not loaded. Again, the gun needs to be loaded 100% of the time or you are not going to be ready. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about the different holster materials and the pros and cons of each. So first up, which is always the cheapest, is a nylon holster. Now, nylon holsters are very inexpensive, which is why new permit holders are drawn to them. However, they usually cost around 10 to 12 bucks, but they are not even worth the $10 that you're paying. The buckle on the nylon is very, very poor, and the nylon is going to stretch and bend over time, and the firearm will never be secured. So, nylon holsters are totally out, not even an option in my opinion. Next, we have raw leather holsters. Now, raw leather holsters are okay. This is one that I had for many, many years. The holster fits in pretty nice. Now, the negative is trying to reholster the gun. Once you pull it out of your waistband, it all collapses, and you really can't reholster the firearm with one hand. Now, is that something you have to do on a regular basis? Probably not. The other major negative that I don't like about this holster is that the holster sits way too deep inside of my pants. Now, that might be good if your goal is to significantly reduce printing, but it makes drawing from concealment very difficult. Next up, we have the finished leather. Now, if your goal is to drive women crazy on Miami Beach, finished leather is definitely the way to go. It's very beautiful, it looks nice, but the downside of finished leather is that in Florida, we're carrying inside the waistband. People aren't going to see the firearm or the holster anyway. So I just don't think it makes much sense unless you're a law enforcement officer and people are going to be able to see it. Finished leather holsters are also made of very thick leather, and they tend to be significantly heavier than some of the other options. Next, we have plastic holsters and even Kydex holsters, which is very similar to plastic, if not identical. Now, the benefit of having these plastic holsters is that the firearm kind of has a little bit of positive retention when it goes in and out. You also don't have to worry about the holster getting soaked and saturated with sweat like you do with leather holsters. Personally, I really love using plastic or Kydex holsters. I think it's the only way to go with today's technology. Now, one of the most popular concealed carry positions is appendix carry. So this means that the firearm is inside of my waistband at the 12:30 to 1 o'clock position. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, that has got to be really uncomfortable. But surprisingly, it is very nice. The firearm goes right down the crease of my leg, so it allows me to drive a car, sit down at a table, play with my kids, run, climb a ladder. I can live my life in a normal way and carry my gun 100% of the time with very little interference. Some of the massive benefits of appendix carry position is weapon retention. It's very easy to fight off an attacker if they're trying to gain access to my gun, which is critical. You know, one of my students recently was carrying a gun concealed in Ybor City, and he was attacked by 5 men. Now, he laid on the ground in the fetal position, and he was simply concerned about one thing: preventing these bad guys from getting control of the gun. Some of the other benefits are comfort and an extremely fast draw. Appendix carry also allows me to carry a large frame firearm without the need to wear a concealment garment or something to reduce printing. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. Is appendix position safe? I mean, it is pointed right at my junk. Appendix carry is very safe. Now, during a self-defense situation, you're gonna have to draw from concealment. The first thing we do is remove our concealment garment. Then we grab the pistol and we bring it up into the high ready position. We press out towards our target, and once we are ready, our finger can move to the trigger and we can engage. Now, during this entire process, the firearm is never pointed at our body, and our finger is always off of the trigger until we are ready to engage the bad guy. Now, the major safety concern with appendix carry is reholstering the firearm. Now, when I wake up in the morning, my firearm is inside of my big gun safe. it's loaded, and it's inside the holster. I simply grab the entire holster, put it into my waistband, and I'm ready for the day. But let's say I had to draw my firearm in a self-defense situation, and now it's time to reholster. We have to remember the firearm safety rules, and we have to move very slowly during this process. First, we need to take our finger off of the trigger. We're going to thrust our hips forward very slightly, and we are going to watch intently as we insert the firearm back into the holster. Our goal is to make sure that the trigger does not get snagged or caught on our clothing, and that our finger is very far away from that trigger. Reholstering your firearm should always be done slowly and with intent. I'm not going to go into extensive detail on drawing from concealment or reholstering in this training. If you want to learn more, Tampa Carry has an advanced concealed carry course level 1 that will teach you everything you need to know. Now, carrying in the appendix position is the most popular position among concealed carry permit holders in the United States. Now, there are lots of amazing holster manufacturers and models to choose from. Here are just a few that I really like. So, Concealment Express, Alien Gear Shapeshift Appendix Holster, Crossbreed makes some great appendix holsters, Raven Concealment, but my all-time favorite and personal holster is Tier 1 Concealment. The second most popular position is inside the waistband. Now, this means the firearm is inside of your pants and normally at the 430 position. This allows the firearm to rest naturally against the side of the body. Now, if you're a bigger person, this may not be super comfortable for you. You may want to move the firearm a little bit closer to the 3 o'clock position. Some of the benefits of the inside the waistband position is that it's very comfortable, you have reduced printing, and a very fast draw. Now, my only complaint with inside the waistband carry at the 430 position is that I have a little bit of a back issue, and sometimes it really bothers me to be leaning up against the gun while I'm driving. And that's one of the primary reasons that I carry in the appendix position. Now, you have 2 holster options to choose from for inside the waistband carry. You could use a holster like this, which is identical to the holster we would use for the appendix position. Now, the downside of this is that you have one spot that it's attached to your belt. So that means all the weight is concentrated in one spot, and sometimes you can definitely feel that on the body. Now, this holster is made by Crossbreed, and it's called the Super Tuck. I absolutely love this holster. You can see it has these wings on it so that the holster attaches to 2 spots on your belt. This helps to distribute the weight of the firearm across the body, making it more comfortable for everyday carry. Now, some of the inside the waistband holsters that I really love is the Alien Gear Shapeshift inside the waistband holster, or the Crossbreed Super Tuck. No matter which one of these you buy, I promise you are absolutely gonna love it. Now, pocket carry is one of my all-time favorite concealed carry positions. For years, I was a sales rep for Culligan Water, and I had to have a really deep concealment option so I didn't scare my customers. And pocket carry was my go-to solution. So one of the major downfalls of pocket carry is that you are limited in the size of the firearm and the caliber. Now, most pocket pistols are chambered in .380 ACP, which is an okay caliber. It's just not the greatest. Now, some of the most popular pocket carry guns is the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard, the Ruger LCP, or the SIG P238. Now, just because the firearm is called a pocket carry gun does not mean you can simply load it and stick it inside of your pocket safely. Recently, I heard a story of a police officer that placed a pocket pistol not in a holster inside of his pocket. Now, he must have also put his keys or something else in his pocket because he reached in and somehow the firearm went off, shooting himself right in the leg. I guess it could have been a little bit worse. If you truly want to become a safe and responsible concealed carry permit holder, the firearm has to be in a holster. And if you're gonna carry in the pocket position, I recommend the Nemesis holster made by DeSantis. One of the major benefits of pocket carry is that it is extremely comfortable and the printing is a non-issue. The Nemesis holster makes the firearm look like a wallet inside of your pocket. Drawing from concealment is extremely fast and really easy. The downside of having a pocket pistol is that you're limited in the size of the firearm, the capacity, and of course the caliber. Currently, I use pocket carry as a backup gun, but I don't really recommend it as your primary firearm. Now, outside the waistband carry is the exact opposite of inside the waistband carry. Yeah, that makes sense. Now, the firearm is placed inside of a holster, and this is a paddle holster that would stick on the outside of your pants. Now, some of the benefits of outside the waistband carry is that it's very, very comfortable. However, printing is a major issue. You know, outside the waistband is perfect when you live up north or someplace where you're wearing multiple layers of clothing, a jacket or a sweatshirt. But in Florida, it's just not very practical. It's very hard to hide and very hard to reduce printing. Now, generally, I don't really like outside the waistband carry for concealed carry in Florida, but there is one holster that I absolutely love. It's called the Crossbreed Snap Slide. What's awesome about this holster is that it keeps the firearm very close to my body. The draw is lightning fast and printing is very minimal. First up, we have a concealment shirt. Now, this is designed to be worn as an undershirt, and it has a really cool pocket underneath the armpit that can fit most firearms. Now, this shirt is really awesome for concealed carry. The only negative, and it is a big negative, they're kind of expensive. Next up is a belly band. Now, this is a stretchy band that goes around your stomach, and it has a holster for the gun and an extra magazine pouch. Now, belly bands are very comfortable. Deep concealment and printing is very, very minimal. A belly band allows you to carry your gun and run, jog, exercise, ride a bike, have sex. The possibilities are endless. Number 3 is concealment shorts. You wear these shorts underneath your pants, a dress, something like that. It keeps the firearm very close to your pelvis, and concealment is super deep. So if you're a ninja, a spy, or an undercover cop, this is a perfect position for you. Every day, women ask me how they're supposed to conceal carry a gun when they wear such tight clothing like yoga pants. Let me first start off by saying, thank you, ladies. Thank you. Introducing concealment yoga pants. Yes, this is a real thing. So they have a built-in holster for you to carry a subcompact or a pocket pistol in the appendix or even the 430 position. Now, the downside of concealment yoga pants, I don't really think there is one. And to whoever created the yoga pant, on behalf of all men in the world, we salute you. Women also have the ability to attach a holster to their bra, either on the bottom or the side. Now, one of the companies making holsters like this is called Flashbang. Now, this type of holster gives you a massive advantage in a life or death situation. You see, to draw the firearm from concealment, you have to lift up your shirt to distract the attacker. Then grab your gun and shoot him in the face. Now, these bra holsters provide very deep concealment. However, I would imagine that the firearm can become a little bit heavy. Now, I don't have much experience wearing a bra. I have some, but not a lot. Now, women that like to wear a dress or a skirt, you may want to consider a garter belt holster. Garter belts allow for very deep concealment, easy draw, and it is extremely comfortable. Now, personally, I own 2 pairs of shoes, tennis shoes and dress shoes. And honestly, I could throw away my dress shoes. But my wife has a different pair of shoes for every outfit that she has. Now, the exact same thing applies to concealed carry holsters. Most men are only going to need one holster, and they're going to carry in the same position 99% of the time. But ladies, you may have to change it up quite frequently based on what you are wearing that day. So please just keep that in mind. You may have to change your holster and even your firearm based on what you're wearing.